Good talk.
Here we go.
Is it there now?
It's starting to.
Okay.
Or, yeah, it's good. We're going live, folks. So we're going live early. So we'll just chat.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
You're live.
Cool. I'm going to go talk.
Here we
I'm
go.
going to post this. Let's see. I'm going to mute this really quick. And then I need the link. Here we go. Copy link. Why won't it let me copy the link? There it is. Okay. Let's do a little Facebook Live really quick. Oh, wait. I need to post the link in my profile. So, how are you feeling, Bill?
All right.
Okay.
We're going new to old.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can kind of keep going back to the new one for as much as you like, because that's kind of the control pour. So that's the new one, and then we'll do Evan Williams 2003 or whenever I said that was. Really should check that out, shouldn't I?
Why is this not working for me? Here we go. We'll leave this live for a second on here too, so I could reach some people. What if I could post? Hey, hello and welcome. If you're checking me out right now, I just wanted to let you all know that I don't even know if I can post this. Let's see if you can copy that. I am going live with ModernThirst.com. We will be tasting through some pre-fire Heaven Hill. We're going to taste it with a little bit of modern day Heaven Hill. Is that correct?
That's right.
Cool. So we're doing pre-fire and modern day Heaven Hill, and see what strikes us as a difference. I did pin the link here in the chat. It's also going to be on my profile. So go check out my profile, click on the link, come watch the video of us doing this tasting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Always have a blast with these guys here at Modern Thirst, and get to hear some insights on some pre-fire Heaven Hill. Hope you all can stop by. Hope your Tuesday is going spectacular. I'll see you all soon. Cheers, dudes. Sweet.
All right, we'll give some folks a little bit of time because technically no one's expecting this till 8:30.
Right.
But in my infinite wisdom and awesome technical abilities, I started it early.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right, let me, while we're at this, we'll pull up some photos.
Oh yeah. So I had an interesting afternoon.
All right.
You want to hear me bitch for a moment?
Sure.
So for the last 8 months, my Volkswagen has been at the mechanic. It's been there since February. And I call, I kind of give him a couple of weeks, and then I call and kept getting the runaround for the last 8 months. So finally I called, and they're like, we'll call you back. And I said, no, I will wait on this phone until I can talk to who's working on my car. So finally, this was last week. And I'd call and they'd be like, oh, I'll be ready tomorrow. I'll be ready tomorrow. I'll be ready tomorrow. day after day after day. Finally, Friday comes around and they're like, look, it will be ready on Monday. We got this. Okay. Call midday Monday. Sorry, it'll be ready Tuesday. I promise I will call you first thing Tuesday morning and let you know what's going on. Tuesday morning came and went, and I called at 1 p.m. and the guy's like, man, your ears must have been ringing because I was calling you right now. And I was like, okay. So I get down there and I get my car. I ended up waiting there for almost 3 hours because when I went to drive off with my car, it died before I even left the lot.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
And this is after I just dropped $900 on it to get it back. So I went back to the office. I was like, look, my car just died. Y'all got to figure this out. So they bring it back down to the little like garage and start working on it. But I didn't know what was going on. I was just sitting there waiting like, okay, I don't know if I can go home or not. So finally, like 2 hours, maybe almost 2.5 hours in, the guy comes and tells me, he's like, yeah, he went to drive it and it died on the road. So you can just go home. I'm like, almost the whole afternoon. I was there from like 1:30 until I think we got home at like 5.
Goodness.
Yeah. So I still don't have my car back. So there's that. I was talking about this bottle last night and I was saying I'll drink it and then I'll kind of not forget about it, but kind of just put it aside. And then it kind of gets pulled out again. And I'm just reminded by how much I actually like it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm trying to stay around proof point here on these since they're 86 and 80. So I'm going to stick with the, for now anyway, I'm going to stick with the black label.
Mm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, I need to make sure that's out of there. That's not one of the samples we were drinking tonight.
That's going to throw it off a bit.
Yeah, that will throw it way off. That was the coffee one.
Oh, did you try that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was interesting.
Was I wrong?
No. You were not wrong at all. I feel like you saved me a lot of heartache on that one.
Well, it's funny because that came out right after we tasted that Woodford toasted rye.
Mm.
Was it Woodford? The toasted rye that we tried, the bourbon?
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah. Woodford toasted rye.
Yeah.
That tasted like coffee.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is right up my alley. I found basically a whole bottle of that stuff. And then it turned out to taste like an old coffee filter where someone had left the grounds in it and fed it to you.
Yeah. And somehow in doing so, it fermented.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it. I really did, but you know. Do I have? I don't. Pull up the.
What's new out there? How's life?
Tiring. It's tiring.
I hear you.
But went to Cast Thief on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
And, they did it socially distanced in a airplane hangar museum. It was really neat the way they did it this year because they needed to keep everyone separated. But they had 6 different casts you could taste from. On the
do a beer
Sunday
festival
evening. on Sunday evening, they had a VIP session, and the 7th cast was the one that, now that I'm really jealous I was not there. It was their sherried single malt finished in a peated quarter cask. So,
oh my God.
Interesting.
So, and I would be guessing maybe Laphroaig, since they have peated quarter cask with peated distillate in there. So not sure, but did not get to try that. I actually tried to connect with Stranahan's today to see if they were still selling any extra bottles from that, and they are not. But I did get 3 of my favorites. I got a couple of 2 of them, and then 1/3 one that was in my top 3.
Awesome.
So are they doing things other than bourbon now?
No, they just do. They only do American single malt, so it's 100% barley.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's
and
really cool.
So they just have different. Everything's the same mash bill. There's just different ages, and then they do some finishes.
Okay, very cool. What were you said you got? There was 3 that you got. What were?
I got Twice Married, Once Removed, which was whiskey from last year called the Married Barrel, which was done in Cabernet Sauvignon cask. They took about 35% of that from last year, and then they put it in a fresh Cabernet Sauvignon cask and rebottled that. That was my favorite. A lot of red fruits. Then the second one that I got 2 bottles of was More Than Meads the Eye. They took their single malt and they finished it in blackberry mead cask.
Oh my God, that sounds so great.
Wow.
Both of those are around 5 years old. And then the last one is Lucky Number 7. These are all around 110 proof. They took 4-year-old Stranahan's and finished it in a Bushmills Irish whiskey cask for 3 years. So it's 7 years old.
Oh my God. Huh.
All completely different profiles, but those are my favorite of the evening.
So
they also did one in a maple syrup barrel.
Oh my God. Is there any weird rules with American malt like there is with other spirits, with other brown spirits?
Actually, they're trying to get rules because there isn't anything really. All you have to do is be 51% malt.
Wow.
They're trying to get standards very much similar to the Scots. A lot of most of the American single malt producers are using New American oak, which is different than Scotland, but they're trying to get it where 100% malt, certain age, so you don't have the 51% game with the malt.
Sure. What was that noise?
I think that's somebody's calendar reminder, maybe mine.
That must mean it's 8:30. It sure does.
All right. Well, anyone who is joining us, about to join us, or watching us on replay, welcome. This is a fun video that we're going to do. We have a couple of Dusties, a couple of pre-fire Heaven Hills here that we're going to check it out. So what we're going to do is we have a modern version of the Evan Williams, just straight up Evan Williams Black Label, no age statement. So this is kind of the control, just to kind of see what's it taste like today. We've got a 2003. This is an export bottle, so it's all Japanese on the back, but it's age stated 7 years. Evan Williams pre-fire Heaven Hill. And then the last thing we're going to taste.
That's the 2003, right?
2003.
Okay.
The last thing we're going to taste is the Distiller's Pride. It's a 10-year Heaven Hill at 80 proof. And this was also an export bottle, all Japanese on the side. This was bottled in 1995. And this one's 80 proof. So really what we're going to do is kind of see what's happened with Heaven Hill between the two different distilleries. What do we think about them? What we taste, and what do we like? So none of these were really high premiums, obviously. Evan Williams is just kind of a lot of people consider a bottom shelf. Personally, I just think it's just a solid bourbon. That's kind of where I stand with it. I think it's fine. It's cheap enough to mix and it's good enough to sip. So let's see how it stands up. At the old distillery in Bardstown, it burned down in 1996. So the new one is in Louisville. It didn't come online for them until I think 98 or 99. But that's the new Bernheim distillery, as most people call it. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with the regular old black label Evan Williams, the modern version of it. And this is 86 proof. Obviously, it's not age stated, but I've heard them say a million times it's between 5 and 7 years old, and that's probably still accurate if I had to guess. And probably closer to 5 than 7 for the most part.
They're still offering that at 86 proof?
Yes, they are.
Huh. Wow. Okay, then.
Classic Evan Williams.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of classic Heaven Hill to me. There's a little bit of peanut on that. A little bit of youth to it, but really, in all, not really that much. It's a solid bourbon. My one complaint with it is the same thing that I say about pretty much all of the base level offerings for all of the major distilleries, is that I just don't drink anything at 86 proof anymore. For the most part, anything I'm drinking is higher than that. 90 proof is a bare minimum. Really, 100 is kind of where I get excited, and above that is what I'm looking for. But I've purposely I'm not tasting anything over 86 proof tonight, just because I don't want to water down, or I guess dumb down anything else that I'm tasting.
Sure. Yeah, I have to agree. There's that rich peanut characteristic. It's got some nice like mid caramel and some vanilla. It just doesn't have a whole lot of body.
Mm-hmm.
You get like mid palate through this, and I find myself just wanting to chew on it a little more. I wish the flavors, but that's not a bad thing. Just
I would call this a medium to light bourbon. Doesn't really coat the mouth. I get a lot on the tip of the tongue. I get most of all the flavors are kind of mid palate. Get really nothing on the rear palate, and the finish is fairly quick.
Yeah, agreed.
I would agree. I get definitely, I don't know, a little bit of nutties, maybe like a cashew, some definitely caramel, and then a slight spice on there, but not very much. But it's a very, very mild mannered bourbon.
I will say that I find myself being a bit of a Heaven Hill fanboy. I really love Heaven Hill's offering. This isn't really my cup of tea, nor is really the Bottled and Bond Evan Williams. I really like anything that says Heaven Hill on it. I like the green label. I like the old white label Bottled and Bond, and the new Bottled and Bond that they still don't sell in Kentucky. I like that too. Unfortunately, they just don't sell it here. But anything Elijah Craig, especially a single barrel pick of that, I'm all about. I even like their wheated stuff, and typically I'm not a wheated bourbon guy at all. I prefer the rye stuff on the spicier side. So typically, I love Heaven Hill. It's probably one of my favorite distilleries, if not my favorite distillery. But in this case, I just find it's just bourbon. It's kind of like drinking an Old Forester 86 or something like that. So with that in mind, and feel free to keep pouring that until your sample goes out, and switch to something else if you want. But I'm going to move to the Dusty. I've had a slight taste of these before, but I've never done them side by side with the modern one yet.
How long have you had these? If you don't mind me asking.
Just maybe 2.5 months.
Okay. Did you? I'm also curious if you got them with this in mind, or you were just like, I need these in my life.
I'm a big. I love to taste pre-fire Heaven Hill because I think
sure.
A wide variety in the bottlings of it. I think that particularly the wheated stuff, but more and more, I feel like there's a big difference between any of their modern things that are not Evan Williams and the pre-fire stuff. and I've had probably 5 or 6 different iterations of it, and they're all different. And these have old Evan Williams, just straight up Evan Williams, happens to be one of them I never had. I've never had Distiller's Pride, so I just saw them. I decided I'd go ahead and grab them, and kind of glad I did. And as soon as I did, I knew I wanted to use them for this video.
Can I take it one step farther and ask how you acquired them?
Probably shouldn't say that. There are places
cool.
online.
That's fine. That's all I needed.
From someone who acquires them legally.
Cool. That's all I needed to hear. I didn't need a vast explanation of that one. So did you want to move on to the 03?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do here, and I'm getting a huge difference in the nose right off the bat. I want to make sure I have about 9-inch glass.
Now the 03 is the bottling date, correct?
Correct.
So distilled in 96 or so.
Yeah,
definitely a different nose on all 3 of them, and the palate too. Almost floral in some ways.
So the 2 things I get on this, which is really funny because I get kind of like fresh sawed wood, like sawdust almost of a fresh treated lumber, not like old wet wood. It's more like fresh, being in a mill house or something, or in a hardware store where they've been cutting wood. The other thing I get, which is what I used to get on the old 12-year Old Fitzgerald, is I get circus peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was only the wheat and mash bill, I guess, because I'd only had it in the circus peanuts, but I definitely get it on this.
I almost get on the 03, I get almost a peach apricot note on the nose.
There's maybe a little fruit in there.
Man, that distinct, like, it's like sweet and library books. It's like confectioner sugar and library books, like in the most pleasant way. Like library books are like maybe old records. And I always get it on, like pre-whiskey boom stuff. Man.
It's very interesting that what I don't get on the nose is the nuttiness that I get on the modern Heaven Hill stuff.
Oh yeah, this is just like nuts and some caramel in the modern, and then this is just fruity and earthy.
I think that
little floral. Like,
the more I think of floral, the more I can kind of smell that in this.
Definitely get a floral, like I said, peach note. On the palate, I get a leather note on it with some caramel and then the fruits again, and almost a cola note to it, more so than on the modern.
Interesting.
I think it's so interesting how these are at the same proof, and this drink's so much more spicier than the modern day.
So I just kind of comparing the 2 bottles, there's not a huge difference other than the fact that it's all Japanese on the back. They've changed it obviously a little bit over the years, but it says the 7 years on the neck there. But otherwise, again, this is supposedly the same stuff. It's just from, it spans 2 different distilleries from a disaster there at Heaven Hill. So it's very interesting how different they are, both in the nose and in the flavor. So you hear a lot about, this distillery, someone gave them the yeast from another one, so it's virtually the same thing. They're using the same formula and all that. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It's different waters, different location. The yeast yeast is a microorganism, and it's kind of a fast evolution in terms of how many generations. In just a few years is millions of generations with yeast. So it's just different. It's not the same as just taking the same mash bill and yeast strain from one place to another and getting the same result. It doesn't work that way. I remember Jim Rutledge was talking about when they were expanding Four Roses, that one of his big worries was changing the flavor of Four Roses. He said because everything in those distilling rooms impacts the flavor. There's yeast growing on the walls that have been there generations and generations. They impact the flavor of what comes out of those stills. And you just can't replicate that by just taking the primary yeast and the grains from one place to another. Very interesting. I'm going to give it
definitely. I agree with you, Timothy. Definitely spicier on the 2003 on the palate.
It's that extra body that I really want from the modern really shows up here, and that like just wanting to chew on it. That
yeah, I'll give
this.
That.
This is showing up where this didn't. It's just.
I get very much. This is very much on the rear palate for me. Whereas the modern one kind of dissipates by the time it gets there. It's very rye forward, and I agree with you, Timothy, on this one. I get that library kind of cardboard note to it throughout, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I used to say
exactly
stuff in a bad way, but
in the best way possible.
This is a really interesting, really pleasant drink. I really enjoy it.
Man, it just isn't fair, man. It just isn't fair.
I would definitely give a nod to the 2003 between those two, though.
This is the thing that just baffles me so much, that there's so many people idiotically out there chasing and throwing money at new released allocated stuff when there's still things like this that are obtainable.
I see Scott's in here from My Bourbon Journey. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, buddy? That like all that vintage wild turkey that I got from that guy.
Yeah, I'm not jealous at all, by the way.
Don't worry, I got you, Papa Bear. I got you. Mm-hmm. But I didn't pay more than $2.75 per decanter, and you know that's I don't know. Just like I said, it just baffles me.
I really love. I've really gotten into. It's gotten me into modern wild turkey, but I've always been in love with about mid to late 70s wild turkey, and anything within about 10 years of that time frame, anything through the 80s, I just chase anymore when I see it. And one of those decanters that you got, I tried to get, and I think I forgot that it was coming to an end, and you jumped in and opened it. And I'm not jealous at all.
There was some of those I got for a steal. So
yeah. All right, I'm going to move on to Distiller's Pride here.
I'm going to join you shortly. I'm still hanging on, chewing on this guy.
Get Dr. Pepper on the nose on this one.
Ooh. All right, let's pour this guy. Let's get him ready.
To me, there's more similarities on the nose between the 95 and the 03 than the modern.
So this is age stated, correct?
This is 10 years old, but it's only 80 proof.
So 95 is the year that's stamped on the bottle?
Correct.
So we're looking at like mid 80s distilled. Okay.
This to me is Dr. Pepper and potpourri.
Oh man, you know what? This 03, now that it's been sitting a second, tons of caramel now. Oh my God. I just want to live in this glass, Bill. I just want to live in this glass.
It's definitely some sweetness coming out of that.
God, man.
I think the 95 has a lot of similar characteristics to the 03 on the nose, but I think for me, the palate's a bit flatter.
Do you think I was going to say, do you think it's because of the proof?
Not nearly as spicy.
This isn't as bold on the nose either, and that could be proof. Could be age. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't tasted it.
Here's my question. And maybe it doesn't have an answer. This is just to put that out there and say, hey, why did we see 80 and 86 be essentially the baseline, on vintage stuff, and it's not really so much the baseline now. I feel like 90 and 100 is kind of our baseline with a lot of releases now.
Well, I think, to be totally honest, it probably was 80 and 86 10 years ago. When I first started Modern Thirst, for example, I mean, if you had to tell me what's the most base house bourbon that I was always keeping, was Old Forester 86.
Sure.
And I think Old Forester 86 and Old Forester 80 were probably kind of the baseline. But what I think happened, and it's weird, I think Bullet had a lot to do with this, because when Bullet came out, they didn't target consumers. They targeted bartenders, and they went to New York and Chicago and LA, where there's this huge cocktail scene coming. And the problem with 86 and 80 proof bourbon is that it doesn't stand up well to really sweet mixers. So they came out with this high rye formula, essentially, that was spicier. And I think it's at 90 proof. And they kind of marketed that. And I think that kind of kicked off. People claim, a lot of people will give Pappy credit for the bourbon boom. It was Bullet. I don't care what anyone says, it was Bullet, because it made it popular with these, in these big cities, and cocktails, essentially.
Sure.
Started tasting them. Pappy came along after that, and they made the high-end collectible bourbon boom happen. But Bullet is the one who made people start thinking of bourbon as something other than what your granddaddy, hides a pint of behind the toilet and sneaks off for a nip or something like that. So
sure.
I think that's more to do with it. And the further we've gone with it, people want that really bold flavor, which can come with 90 proof or 100 proof, or can come with, more rye or different mash bills. I think that's where it came from. And now as more people get into it and more people start trying things like, started with Booker's and things like that with the really high proof stuff, that's what they want. They want that full flavor. And it just, everything's moving that way, because that's what the high-end bourbon buyers want now.
I was in a tasting 2 weeks ago with the owner of Medley Brothers, Watkins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And their entry level, Medley Brothers, is really designed, he was talking about, it's designed for bars and restaurants. That's who they market it to. I found a bottle of it today. It's $24. It's 102 proof.
Oh my God.
102 proof. So, they're doing that to stand up in cocktails.
Sure.
And it's a really good reception.
It's the same reason makers came out with cask strength. Is they tried to, bourbon was coming popular in these bars, and they wanted, their brand ambassadors were trying to get people to use makers, and they said, well, it disappears in a cocktail. It's too light, it's too sweet. It you can't mix it with a lot of other things, because it just doesn't stand up to it. And they said, all right, how about cask strength? And here you go. It's in my opinion, the best regular product they put out. I think it's a great.
Agreed.
People forget about it all the time, but my gosh,
Yep.
If you like wheat whiskey, go buy Maker's cask strength. It's one of the best ones out there that you can always find.
Yep. And they always vary. I think I would say this, being somebody who gets really picky on his single barrels, I think it's one of the few batched products that actually has some variation, like a single barrel does, because of the proof variations. Mm-hmm. They're slight, but they're still,
Yeah.
So I don't know if we were going for a clear winner tonight, but I definitely have one. There's one that just stands out.
I know exactly which one you're going to pick.
The 03. The 03 is empty over here in in my glass. Like, there's the last of the sample right there. Like, it's done. Like, that has everything that I want. It checks every box for.
So with the 95 Distiller's Pride, I think that library flavor is kind of taken to the extreme on that. To the point where I don't really enjoy it as much. To me, it reminds me, a lot of people call it yeasty, but it reminds you of a lot of some of the low-end Jim Beam stuff that people don't particularly like.
Sure.
And to be fair, I think Distiller's Pride was always kind of a low-end product that Heaven Hill bottled anyway. So it makes a little bit of sense.
It's too barrel forward and too tannic and too musty. Like, there's not, and maybe if it was a little higher proof, some of that would dissipate, but just the 80, like, entry level proof, like pulling the bare minimum here at 10 years. It's just too much. I'm going to say too much dilution and too much age.
I think the nose is the best part on the 95, but on the palate, especially on the finish and stuff, it almost turns into a cardboard type note. Yeah, to me.
I'm with you. 100%.
It's 100%. Sweet and buttery up front, but then it's done and over with, and then it's just bitter, chalky, cardboard, or just and then it's over, and then you're left with just that like, ugh.
So I would say with these, one of the other things to keep in mind, these two whiskeys were exports. So at some point they went on a ship and they went over to Japan. Sure. And at some point they got on a plane or ship and they came back. I have no idea what's happened to these in the interim. They are fairly clear. If I had to say anything, I would say the Distiller's Pride might be ever so slightly hazy. So it's possible it saw some sunlight. I don't know. Right. I don't know. I mean, again, it's an old bottle. It's also, again, I'm 90% sure that it was a pretty much the bottom of the bottom shelf stuff from Heaven Hill in the day. So it could also just be that they didn't exactly put their best foot forward with this to start with. I don't know.
I definitely agree with you, both of you, that the 03 takes it. I think I put the Modern in second, though.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. You know what, Bill? It does have a slight haze. It's not cloudy, but it's definitely not clear.
I think.
Whereas like the 03 is very clear, and the Modern Day is I would as crystal clear as you can get on brown water. There's a slight haze in the 03, and there's a definite haze in the 95.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. That 03. I keep going back to that.
Dude, that's I need more of that in my life. Straight up.
So I do want to take a pause here because I mentioned this a couple of times in my last video that I recorded. This is the last video we're going to do before we draw for the Modern Thirst Challenge Coin Prize.
Ooh.
So Challenge Coin Prize is a bottle of 4-Gate Foundation Batch 5, which I'll show you a bottle of it right here. So that's a 9-year, 9-month Kentucky straight bourbon. It is some really special whiskey in that bottle. Can't tell you provenance of it because of some non-disclosure agreements, obviously.
So damn good.
It's a $200 retail price, and
so
that's
damn good.
It's really, really good. There were under 900 bottles produced, only available in Kentucky and Tennessee. So we are going to draw for that in our next meeting, our next live video, which will be in November. Who wants to take the next sharing of samples, by the way, while we're on that topic?
What's going on?
Next time we send some samples.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
All day.
All right. So Tim's going to send around some samples before our next one, which will probably be sometime before Thanksgiving, I would guess. And we're going to draw for the winner of that. Now, that being said, there are a few of the coins left. They are our challenge coins. Can't really see them because of the light in here. I today sent out one more to someone who had actually ordered it a few weeks ago, and I did not see the email come through. But I sent that out today, and there's only a handful left. There's maybe like 5 left.
Oh, geez.
So
those are good odds. Well, there was 100 coins?
There's 100 coins, but we kept about 15 of them.
Those are freaking great odds, man.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
$10 for one coin. We're going to randomly draw it, and in fact, today we're going to draw for everyone who's already bought a coin, as we've been doing, and I'm going to send a 2-ounce sample of whichever of these two Dusties they want. So I'll reach out to
03. Pick the 03.
I'm going to reach out to whoever wins via email and see which one they want and send that out to them absolutely free. So the next one, again, if you want one, ModernThirst.com/shop. There's probably about 5 left, if I had to guess. So jump on there and get those if you want a chance to win. You're going to have about, at worst, a one in about 85, probably 84. I think we kept 16 if I have to be exact on it. So better than 1 in 100 chance per coin to win. $200 bottle that is very hard to find. So
1 in 85. Those are great odds.
I, in meantime, am going to go ahead and draw. I have entered everyone's name into a randomizer.
Yeah.
Randomize.
So
Jason Calori, that is Mash and Drum.
Yeah.
Good guy. I've met him. He's a good dude.
Oh man, he's a solid dude.
Good dude. And we are going to, I'll get in touch with him and send him out a 2-ounce sample of, I'm going to guess he wants the 03 if he watches this video first, but we'll just see if he watches the video. He'll choose the 95, and then I'll know.
Yeah, that's how you know if he watched the video or not, depending on what he picks. Oh, got to go for the 90. Nope, you done goofed, son.
Yep.
So this okay, I finally pinpointed this 95. What this reminds me of. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but growing up in Southern California, Mexican markets and Mexican food were a huge part of my upbringing, and I guess part of my I guess you could call it my culture, even though I'm not really sure what my culture is, but Mexican food was very present. So going to the Mexican market when my dad would make salsa every week, they always had bamboo, or not bamboo, they always had sugar cane, like pieces of sugar cane, like about yay big, that he would give for us as if you were good, you got a special treat. It was a piece of sugar cane. And I always remember just biting off a piece and chewing on it. And it's sweet. And then that goes away real quick, and it's just like chewing on fucking bark. That's this. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually an awesome memory for me. But that's the flavor and the aroma of this, is chewing on a piece of sugar cane.
So I just learned something about the 03, and that is, Timothy, it's probably too late for you if you've drained it, but if you take just like a drop of water, caramel bomb.
Oh, I'm letting it hang out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do that little experiment. You know, I have to throw this out there.
Just a drop.
I really like doing the dilution in your mouth, because then you can still keep the integrity of what's going on in your glass. So I'm gonna take so many jokes. I'm gonna take a little sip of the water.
Just a sip. Just see how it tastes.
Oh my God. Dude.
Fourth glass is the 6-year-old bottle and bond, Heaven Hill. Talk about getting a nuttiness on this after having the other 3.
That's a Planter's peanut bomb.
Oh, I need to go back to that, because that's what I started. You're talking about this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I started with. That's what I need to go back to now. Oh my God. Even on the nose, man. So I did an experiment this last week. I did, I don't know if you guys know about fat washing when it comes to spirits. Are you familiar with this at all? Either one of you?
Can't say that I am.
Okay, so basically at the core of it, all it is infusing and giving your bourbon a better mouthfeel. And I did a fat wash with peanut butter. So what you do is, I took natural peanut butter, so I still had some separation with the oil, and dumped it in a giant jar with a whole 750 milliliter bottle of wild turkey. You let it sit for a day, then you put it in the freezer so everything separates, and then you strain out your bourbon, and you have essentially peanut butter infused bourbon. Oh my God, it's the way it sits on your palate, and the taste smells like that whiskey when it was sitting for the day. It's just so much peanuts. Can't be mad at that. Cannot be mad at that. Oh man. You know, Bill, I'm gonna say, kind of hate you right now. Kind of hate you right now.
That's a good bottle. I'm glad I got that. Next one I'm going to try is the
Ooh. Is that the Is that the double label mistake bottling?
I don't believe so.
It's where it's on the front where it has the. Let me see the bottle.
My lighting sucks in here right now.
Okay, so no, it is not. Okay.
No.
Never mind.
Don't get me all excited.
It's one of those things that I randomly came across. It's not. I don't think it's something that's common knowledge. It's just one of those. Oh shit! Look at this. But they made a mistake on the little label that sits down here on the bottle, and so they relabeled over it.
Oh yeah. No, this one is not. But this is the old, in case anyone couldn't see it, this is the old Ezra 7-year. It's 101 proof though. But this was a Luxco bourbon, obviously, Ezra Brooks. But these are Heaven Hill source, which is why I'm throwing this in there. It's the old label. I don't think they do any old Ezra anymore, right?
They do old Ezra 7-year cask strength.
Cask strength.
But and then actually they just released. Let's see if I can find a picture of it really quick. No. They have like a four. Here it is. Oh, this is Ezra Brooks. This isn't old Ezra. Never mind. Distiller's Collection.
You know what? I think I have one of those.
Oh,
barrel proof somewhere.
What you got? What you got there, Wes?
Pick from 5280 and Davidson 67.3%. Old
I
Forester.
have yet to try one of those.
That is the highest proof I've seen so far.
It's very tasty.
So of all the things I've tried so far, 2003 Evan Williams is the best, and the white label bottled and bond is number 2. And then be old Ezra, and then it'd be modern Evan Williams, and then the last one is the Distiller's Pride.
I'm gonna throw in 2 extra bottles on this as well and see where we sit. I'm gonna do.
Like it's a challenge now.
The OG bonded gold label.
Oh, that's good stuff.
And then when it was still age stated virgin bourbon. Let's see where we're at here.
See where I'm going from here.
I feel like that's one of my biggest regrets, like telling people about this bottle and writing about it. I mean, I'm sure my review didn't have anything to do with it getting discontinued, but I definitely feel guilty.
What bottle is that?
It's the Virgin. So Virgin Bourbon was an exclusive for ABC stores. So if you were state controlled, this was the bottle that Heaven Hill did specifically for state controlled, and it was like $15, 101 proof, and 7 years old. The only thing that's changed now is it's lost its age statement. So you can still get this, but it's no longer labeled as a 7-year. And I get it. You can't release, you can't rebrand a bonded as a 7-year and still have a bottom shelfer that's 7-year age stated and have a chased product. So I understand, but I'm not happy about it. I will say that. I would say this is probably hands down my favorite bottom shelfer.
What about Dant and
I have both of those. I have a Dant, I have JTS Brown. I think those are both fantastic. But this is my, I'm gonna be real. I'm actually looking for more of this because it's something I want to keep around, and I'm definitely getting low. I would pick it over this guy. I like this bottle quite a bit, and I would pick this over.
I mean, it should be. It's what 0.5% higher and 0.5% higher proof and a year older. I mean, legitimately, it should have a lot of similarities.
The 6-year-old Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond would go into second place for me, but the 2003 still wins.
I agree.
It would move behind the 03, and the Modern would drop of those 4 for me.
Oh man. Oh geez. You know what? That guy's in second place, actually. Wow, that's surprising.
Let's try
second place. I will come at you.
We'll just keep
on
it,
but it's
7 year versus 7 year. You know, that would be a cool side by side. Never mind. I'm done talking. I have a sensory overload of excitement over here.
I did not mean this to go like 7 bottles deep in Heaven Hill, but I like the way this has turned.
Do we want to end this live and hang out and hang out and drink more, or?
I mean, I think we can. We've been through our tasting here, and we've done our drawing. So I'll get in touch with Jason, and I think we're good to go after that. So thanks anyone who's watching us live. Thanks anyone who's watching us recorded. Again, you've got until probably mid-November to grab one of these coins, and that's a chance to win the bottle of 4-Gate Batch 5 Foundation. It's pretty darn special stuff, and it's absolutely free. The coins are $10. Include shipping, and I'll get them out to you as soon as possible. Each one of them is numbered. In case you're wondering how it works, each one of these, there's a serial number on each one. And I keep track of everyone who buys one. I keep track of your serial numbers. So that's how the drawings happen. So your serial number is essentially your entry to win that bottle. So check it out. I'm Bill Straub. Thanks for watching us. Come visit us at ModernThirst.com. I'll let the other 2 guys say their names again and where they can find them.
I'm Timothy Van Riper, Single Barrel Snob on Instagram. And coming to a neighborhood near you.
No. And I'm Wes Jolly, and I write about world whiskeys for Modern Thirst. It's a great evening.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining us, and anyone who's watching. Thanks for coming around. But we appreciate it. Everyone have a great week, and cheers.
Cheers, dudes.